Welcome to Fox Valley Today. I'm your host, Meg Duray. It is almost Earth Day. We'll be celebrating that tomorrow on Wednesday. A lot of classrooms and organizations are celebrating Earth Week and kind of taking the whole week as an opportunity to talk about the things that we can do for our planet. Here to talk about those ideas and some of the events that are coming up for the Conservation Foundation, Brooke McDonald. He's the president and CEO of the Conservation Foundation. Brooke, thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, Earth Day has got to be a big time of year for you guys. I mean, this is kind of what you're all about, huh?
Yeah, well, Earth Day is every day to us because
True.
that's our mission.
Right,
but
right.
You know, a lot of people like to do events and activities around Earth Day. So last week, this week, and next week, it's just jam-packed with events and activities, right. And you know, we're just about everywhere in the Fox Valley over the next week or so.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks for being here and taking a little time out. Let's talk about a few things. You know, as people are celebrating Earth Day, I know a lot of us when we were younger kids, we had those, you know, crafts in school and, you know, little pictures we would color and talk about. But as we get older, you know, how can we kind of translate that into our adult lives, and what can we do as kind of those simple steps that we can do?
Well, the first Earth Day was in 1970, and it was a big deal. And from that, the EPA was created, the Clean Water Act was passed, the Clean Air Act, the Endangered Species Act, a lot of federal policies that are designed to protect our environment. Really came out of that first Earth Day celebration. The amount of awareness that was generated from that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are at the 45th year.
Wow.
Of Earth Day, and you know, there are a lot of things people can do, and you know, there's a broad scale to really simple things that don't cost much, if anything, to more expensive things like, you know, putting solar panels on your roof or something like that. So, you know, the scale and the breadth of activities and things people can do is quite wide. But, you know, real simple things, everybody should be recycling. Everybody should have a rain barrel, and I know you're going to be talking about rain barrels next month with John Church from the Conservation Foundation. But that's just a real simple thing people can do: collect rainwater and water their indoor and outdoor plants instead of using you know, hose water, which or tap water, which actually has chlorine in it, which is not good for your plants. So rainwater.
So not just the conserving water, but the health of your plants.
Exactly. You know, people can compost. You know, there's various easy ways to compost. One thing we really encourage people to do is to use native plants in their home landscaping.
Okay.
You know, beautiful prairie plants, short-growing plants that attract butterflies and pollinator insects and birds, and people can really liven up their yard, not just with color and beauty, but also actually attract some beneficial wildlife, and you know, just sort of bring nature to their yard. And I think everybody would like that. Absolutely.
That's something that we've heard a lot about. Honeybees. You mentioned getting those plants that will attract them, and for a while they were in decline, and people are, you know, I think there's been a pretty big awareness push for that, and I have started to hear some of the statistics coming in that last year was a little bit bigger for honeybees, that there was more honey produced, more comb. So it sounds like, you know, people are making steps to get that number back up there.
Well, honeybees are extremely important to our economy.
Yeah.
I mean, our agricultural economy is based on pollination.
Right.
And there are lots of insects that pollinate, but honeybees are huge in the pollinating business. So it's a big part of our economy. And I think a lot of people are becoming more aware of the plight of the monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about monarchs, their populations are declining, and they specifically need milkweed plants to lay their eggs and for their larvae to grow.
Right.
And if you don't have milkweed plants, we're not going to have monarchs. So there's a big push now to try to put more milkweed plants in our landscape.
Right.
And you know, there are 3 or 4 varieties that are native to the area that people
I was going to say that is native, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I've seen them, you know, out by the rivers and on pathways and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and there are a number of just beautiful milkweed species that people can plant in their yard. There's the orange milkweed, which is also called butterfly weed.
Okay.
There's the swamp milkweed, which gets a little taller. It likes a wet area, so like for a rain garden, swamp milkweed would be good. And then the common milkweed, you know, grows along the edges of fields, you know, everywhere.
Okay.
That's you know, that's the most common. But I think we can help our pollinators and our monarch butterflies by what we plant in our yard, just being a little bit more strategic on that.
Sure, and that's something, I mean, a lot of us are trying to get out into the yard as, you know, especially last week we had that great weather and everybody's thinking, okay, now it's time to start pulling weeds, cleaning up any leaves that are left over. But just as you take time this week maybe to get out, think about planting a couple native plants or, you know, doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's a real simple thing people can do.
I know you mentioned the rain barrel. A lot of people are talking about water conservation, and that's kind of a big thing, you know, globally. I mean, water is scarce. It's getting scarce in a lot of areas, and even in our country here, as
Ask
we
the folks
here
in California.
Exactly. So that's something. I mean, I know that you guys talk a lot about that, and especially as it relates to the health of our rivers and that sort of thing, being in the river valley here. What are some tips that you could offer for people that are, you know, they're just not sure where to start on conserving water? They're thinking, well, just taking a shorter shower, is that, you know, something that'll help?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're very lucky here in the Midwest. We get about 36 inches of rain annually. And that's actually increasing now because of climate change. But we're lucky that we have that amount of precipitation. But yeah, I mean, we don't tell people to use less. We tell people to waste less.
Okay.
And it's a little different message, and I think it's a little bit more meaningful if you think about that.
Right.
You know, we need water. We have to take baths and showers. We have to wash our clothes, and it's okay to wash your car. I use rainwater out of my rain barrel to wash my car. I have 2 rain barrels, and you know, so I use it to water my vegetables and stuff. But I have a lot of native plants in my yard which don't need watering. So I have extra water. So with that extra rainwater, I use it to wash my car. If I'm out in the garden, I have dirty hands. I wash my hands with the rainwater instead of inside the house. My wife likes that because I don't drag in as much dirt. But yeah, it's not so much about using less, it's about wasting less and sort of thinking through. Something as simple, and I taught my kids this when they were young, when they brush their teeth. You don't need to leave the water on the whole time you're brushing your teeth.
Sure.
You know, we want our kids, and we want to take our time and do it right. Well, the faucet doesn't have to be on the whole time. I mean, that's a simple thing. You turn it off, you brush your teeth. When you're ready to rinse your mouth, you turn it back on.
Right.
Now, multiply that times twice a day, times 365 days a year. That's a lot of water that you're now not wasting.
Absolutely.
So, real simple things like that.
Okay. Now, as you talk about the Conservation Foundation, you've got a lot of things going on, and one of them is an annual event that your foundation hosts. It's kind of open to the public, but really maybe for members that they kind of get excited for every year.
Sure. Yeah, it's our Earth Day benefit dinner. And it's a fundraiser, and it's really the only fundraiser we do every year. We do it around Earth Day. It's Thursday night, April 23rd, which is the day after Earth Day. But, you know, it's Earth a Week, so we usually hold it, you know, during Earth Week. But we have close to 600 people that come to that. And it's a fun event. It's a low-pressure event. It's a beautiful silent auction with nature-themed objects. We have almost 200 items in there that are mostly nature-themed. And people really look forward to it every year. You know, and I've been to a lot of dinners at 9:30, 10 o'clock. There's usually someone up there still talking. 8:30, you're out of there.
Okay.
So we get our business done. People have a good time. They have a wonderful meal. They do a lot of networking and socializing. We raise some money, and people leave early because, you know, most people have to go to work on Friday.
Right.
And people feel good about that. And this year we have something special. Any donations people make this year, whether you're at the event or not. So people don't even have to attend the event. They can still make donations to the event. And all new donations this year will be matched 2-to-1 by the Hamill Family Foundation.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, so you donate $50, it's really like donating $150.
So you're making a huge impact then with that. So, wow, that's amazing. And is that just for this week? Is that, or
it's
just
for this
night?
year?
Oh, wow.
In 2015. So any new donations we get in 2015 will be matched 2-to-1, and all that money will be used to further our programs throughout our service territory, which is at its core the Fox Valley area.
Well, that's great. This sounds like it'll be a big year for you guys. I mean, and then, you know, in the years to come to be able to, what you're going to be able to do with that.
Yeah, we're very excited. We have a lot of big plans to do more work around the Fox River and within the communities along the Fox River. That's going to be a huge strategic focus for us over the next 5 or 6 years.
Wonderful. Now, the dinner that you're talking about, I know online registration has ended. We're kind of getting down to the wire, but
Yeah.
you know, if anybody is still looking to get in on that, I think we've got a number here. There's a Carrie that they can call and try
Carrie.
and get in.
Yeah, Carrie's going a little crazy right
Okay.
now, trying to get seating arrangements for 600 people. But if people want to attend, we can still, get you in. Or if you can't attend, but you want to participate in the donation and the match, people can do that online
And
also.
that is available online.
That is
Okay.
available online.
Now, some of the silent auctions that you mentioned, just following your Facebook page, there's been a few kind of little tidbits here and there on some of those exciting things, and you've got just some great donations from businesses and
Yes.
that sort of thing. A lot of, like you said, nature kind of related. One of the things that I saw was a car, a little mini race car. Is that like a remote control almost, but it's water powered? Is
It's
that
a
right?
hydrogen fuel cell model car
Okay.
that you actually operate with your smartphone.
Wow.
And so it's obviously designed to promote hydrogen fuel cell technology,
Sure.
but it's in the form of a toy.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
and you, like I said, you use your smartphone to operate it. So it's just really cool. So I can't remember who donated that, but we received that, and it's like, this is really awesome. So we decided
Yeah.
to sort of promote that. Someone will pay hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000, I don't know, hopefully,
Right.
to have that, because it's just cool.
That's just really cool. Yeah. So just some of those things that I'm thinking, like, boy, if you had any reason to go, maybe that might be the only reason is that you want to get some of those great auction items.
Yeah,
so.
we have a lot of gardening, a lot of plants, trees, shrubs. One of the featured items is a 200 square foot native garden.
Wow.
Designed, installed, everything. If you win that item, you work with the contractor. They come out to your house. You show them where you want it, and bingo. By the time you get home from work one day, you have a beautiful native garden without even getting your fingers dirty.
Wow. Yeah. I think there were also some maybe like behind the scenes things at the Field
Tours,
Museum
yeah.
and different local kind of places.
And a lot of trips, a lot of cabins next to lakes up north, and there's just a whole lot of fun things people can build.
Yeah, I think it just kind of brings to light that, when we say Earth Day, maybe some people think like, oh, that's boring, that's been around forever, save the earth, that sort of thing. But those just items like that are making you think about, how we can apply those and why it's important, those nature relationships that we really need to keep going.
Right,
So.
right. And it's not just about doing things for Earth Day or year round. It's really also about just enjoying the outdoors.
Yeah, yeah.
And, just visiting your local forest preserve or your local park. That's part of giving back to the environment too, because the more people that go out and enjoy our parks and forest preserves, the more parks and forest preserves we'll have in the future, and that's important.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, maybe for Earth Day, take a walk and take a walk down by the river, maybe check out our.
All the wildflowers will be blooming real soon. Some of them are blooming now. It's beautiful out there.
It's so nice to see those little hints of the warm spring coming. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll hear more from Brooke McDonald of the Conservation Foundation, some more of their events that are going to be coming up. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Fox Valley Today.
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
Okay, Simon, what do people wear?
Clothes.
That's right. So it's important to learn how to dress yourself. Here's how it's done. Shirt, underwear, pants, socks, shoes. Underwear, always first, name tag on the back. Then pants and shirt. Go ahead and put this on. Now with the shirt, you want to make sure the first button's right or you have to start all over again, okay? Socks left on left, right on right. Tying the shoes, we're going to take the laces, we're going to cross them over, we're going to turn around where the bunny goes down in the hole, pull it tight, and bunny ears. Got it?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
They're coming. Please, is everybody?
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
No way. Hi. Hi. Hi.
She actually said hi to you.
Welcome back to Fox Valley Today. I am Meg Duray, and we're talking with Brooke McDonald. He is the president and CEO of the Conservation Foundation. Brooke, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on who the Conservation Foundation is, what your role is in the community?
Yeah, the Conservation Foundation, we're a private not-for-profit organization, been around for 43 years, 501c3. And our mission is to preserve and restore open space and natural areas and clean up our rivers and streams and promote stewardship of the environment. And we work primarily in DuPage County, Kane County, Kendall County, and Will County. But we also do a little bit of conservation work in DeKalb County, LaSalle County, and even in Grundy County.
Wow.
So we're sort of a regional organization. We have an office here in Kendall County at the Dixon Merce Farm, and our main office is on a 60-acre organic vegetable farm in Naperville. That's our headquarters. But yeah, we do a lot of partnering with park districts and forest preserve districts, a lot of landowners, try to bring like-minded people together. And we've been involved in helping to preserve about 33,000 acres of land over the last 4 decades. So very involved in land conservation and river and watershed protection.
Right. Well, you've talked a little bit about the funding that's going to be happening this year, and it sounds like some exciting things coming up. But last year was a really great year for you guys, and it sounds like the West Suburban Philanthropic Network kind of gave you some recognition for that, right? Yeah.
I was named the Not-for-Profit Executive of the Year for 2014, and the award ceremony is in about a month. So I'll be going to that, and it's an honor. Yeah. And I'll certainly be accepting that on behalf of the organization and all of our employees. Well, that's really exciting. Congratulations on that. And what does that really mean? This kind of network, is that they give this out every year, I assume? That's kind of okay. Yeah, the West Suburban Philanthropic Network is an organization of not-for-profit leaders who are involved in a number of charitable missions. It's not just conservation. Right. In the western suburbs. And a lot of fundraising, a lot of marketing and organizational development, governance. It's like a professional association. Okay. And every year they give out a bunch of awards, and one award they give out is the Not-for-Profit Executive of the Year. And I think they went through all the low-hanging fruit, so they finally got to me. So will you be able to share a little bit with them about the Conservation Foundation? Yes, absolutely. Okay. And again, it's certainly an honor to get that award, but it really is an organizational award more than an individual award, because anyone that's done anything good knows that you don't do it by yourself. Sure. You do it because you have a good team and good people around you. And we have a wonderful board of trustees and just an outstanding, dedicated professional staff. And, we all work together. Well, it's a great honor for you and for you guys in general, just to have that recognition and, that you're doing great work. Some of the great work that you do is talking with local communities and kind of sharing your expertise. Coming up as partnering with the Yorkville Public Library, they've got their 100-year anniversary going on right now, a lot of events happening there. And at the end of April, you're going to be coming out to give a talk with John Church, like you mentioned? Okay. It's April the 28th. It's at the library in Yorkville. And, John and I will be co-presenting. Okay. And John's going to be talking about our Conservation at Home program, Conservation at Work, and our new pollinator meadow mix, which are displayed right here in front of me. Okay. But prior to that, I'm going to talk about the original vegetation and natural landscape we had here in Kendall County, what that looked like, why it was what it was then, what forces over time created that landscape, and then the changes that have occurred to our landscape over the last couple hundred years and some of the problems that's caused.
Right.
And then John will talk about some solutions that people can do. You know, getting back to Earth Day, what can you do?
Right.
You know, people can make a difference just with what they plant and do in their yard. And so John will be talking about that, you know, with the native plants and the rain barrels and stuff.
Now you've got the pollinator meadow mix, and that's something that the Conservation Foundation has created?
Yes, yeah, we're working with 3 private contractors, the Pizzo Group, Applied Ecological Services, and Cardno, which used to be called JF New. Those are 3 ecological restoration companies. And we created a special seed mix that is low profile native wildflowers.
Oh, wow.
And we call it the Conservation Foundation's Pollinator Meadow Mix. And it's designed for large scale restoration, not something in people's yards, but large scale areas as a turf replacement product. So if, you know, whether it's a corporate campus or a park or any landscape that's very large and it's all grass.
Yeah.
You know, people have to mow it, you have to water it. It's expensive to maintain turf grass. So this is designed as an attractive alternative, low maintenance, attractive alternative to these massively highly managed and maintained turf landscapes. So it's beautiful, people will save money, and it's also good for the pollinators, as we discussed earlier, with the honeybees and the butterflies.
So a win-win-win situation.
Hopefully everybody wins. That's the only way things get done.
Yeah. So that's something maybe like if somebody's working in a government entity, Parks and Recreation, that sort of thing, they might be...
a corporate campus, they could give us a call. Jim Kleinwachter on our staff is the point person, and provide all the information, and then people can work with the 3 companies to get quotes. They sort of compete with each other, but we all are partnering at the same time. So it's sort of a unique public-private partnership. But we all work together, and we're trying to get as many acres as possible converted from the turf grass to the pollinator meadow mix.
Nice. So that's something you'll be able to hear more about at the Yorkville Public Library event, and that's valuing our heritage in today's yard and garden. So that's sounds like a great topic to go through. The next thing that's coming up, boom, boom, boom. You've got everything here, kind of in this April and early May, start of the springtime here. This is another kind of annual event, doing spring at the farm, and it's the Dixon Merce Farm that you mentioned.
Yeah, our Dixon Merce Farm, which is on Dixon Road in Montgomery, hosts these 2 events each year, Spring at the Farm and Day at the Farm. Spring at the Farm is Sunday, May the 3rd from 10 to 3, and then another event is later in August. They're very similar events, but it's a great family event to bring the kids out to. I sort of describe it as a miniature country fair. And just a variety of things people can do. If you've ever been to the Sandwich Fair, it's just sort of a mini version of that. You know, there's hay rides, and there's pony rides, and there's food, and there's tractors everywhere, and plants for sale. There's animals on display. There's tours of the old barns there, the old historic barns. It's just a fun event for families, and seem to get a lot of old timers showing up there too.
Well, you get to see some of that old equipment. I think in the past I must have been to the Day at the Farm and saw the combine, and there was a steam powered, all that equipment, but I don't really know what it does. But you pull into the parking lot, and it was kind of, you know, people were sort of situated around it and watching this equipment going, and this is, you know, how we used to do farming.
Exactly, yeah. Across the street is the home of Shorty Dixon, who actually grew up in the house that our office is at the Dixon Merce Farm. And he keeps an area of his farm open, and so the Dixon Merce Farm partners, who are a volunteer group for the Conservation Foundation, they run the event. And they help take care of the buildings and the site. They go across the street to Shorty's Field and do plowing demonstrations and stuff like that. So I think they'll be doing that also on May the 3rd.
I know a lot of the kids like to come out. They're, one of the big attractions is this sort of Sandbox substitute, where instead of sand, it's just corn.
Kernels of corn, right? Yeah, you know, lots of things for the kids to do. And what kid wouldn't want to jump in a box of, you know, corn and play around.
Really?
Yeah.
What adult wouldn't want to? I mean, it's
know,
just
right?
it's so fun to
Yeah.
just dig and
Sure.
pour and all that stuff.
Right.
I think also too, there's the bluegrass music kind of going on throughout
Right.
the day at various points.
Absolutely. Everybody likes bluegrass. It sort of helps set the tone of sort of just an old-fashioned country fair. And a lot of folks that move out this area from the suburbs, they don't have any place to experience that.
Right.
So they can experience that sort of a fun, laid-back, old country experience at the Spring at the Farm on May the 3rd.
Well, very fun. We've talked about a lot of events that you have coming up. Any other things kind of coming down the pipeline that you want to make sure to bring up, get the word out about it now?
Well, as I mentioned, we're going to be really ramping up our efforts with this Hamel money to do more work in the Fox Valley area. So there'll be more activities and more events, more really community-based conservation activity. John Church, who's our Kendall County Director, and Dan Lobus, who's our Kane County Director, are going to be spending more time working with specific communities on conservation at the local level. And when I talk about community-based conservation, I'm talking about actual on-the-ground conservation projects in people's yards, in people's neighborhoods, and in people's communities, where we have more of an impact. We have found that organizing conservation activities around local communities where people live is more impactful and has a tendency to engage more people because it's happening right where they live. So we want to try to drill a little bit deeper in some of the communities that we work with and engage folks at the local level and establish more local partnerships. So that's going to be a trend that we're going to be moving toward over the next several years. And a lot of the communities we do that in will be in the Fox Valley.
Right. Well, I was going to say, right down the road from me, the Yorkville Riverfront is a place where you can experience that. And I was actually out taking a walk one day, and there's all these people kind of converging down by the riverfront. And it turns out it was the Conservation Foundation, and they were putting together a rain garden.
Exactly. Yeah, we built a rain garden right there by the kayak area, the Whitewater Park. And there's a beautiful sign there that explains what it is. But that's the kind of local conservation where we had volunteers come out. The local garden clubs came out. It was a grant-funded project. The Soil and Water Conservation District here in Kendall County was involved. And what was done in just a few hours was this beautiful rain garden right down by the riverfront that just beautified the riverfront even more.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept and a great place for it because of the draw to that area. So, you know, if anybody is looking to get a little info and to just maybe find out what a rain garden looks like, you know, that's on display. You can head down by the river and take a look.
It's by the footbridge that goes over the river there, right by where the rapids are and where all the kayakers go down.
Right. And I know that we will talk a little bit more about rain barrels. We're going to have John Church out in a couple weeks here. But if anybody is interested in finding out more and maybe purchasing a rain barrel.
Absolutely. You can buy a rain barrel anytime by going to our website. And they're around $65, and that includes tax. And you can pay, I think, an extra $5 and have it delivered right to your house.
Nice.
So for $70, you can get a rain barrel delivered right to your house. And I think that even if you pay a little bit more, I can't remember how much, I'll even install it for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but just go right to the Conservation Foundation's website, click on the rain barrel, it'll take you to the rain barrel page, and you can order it right there.
And I've seen, you know, there were a lot of kind of events associated with it, but you can even decorate your rain barrel. I know a lot of people did the painting, and they had contests and all that stuff. So some communities actually have rain barrels on parade. And then they auction off the rain barrels that are all decorated by local artists, and some local charities usually benefit from that. So that's sort of a neat idea. Yeah, sure. All right, well, tons of info here, but bringing it all back to Earth Day, want to make sure that we get the word out to celebrate it, even if it's just, you know, taking a walk around the block, enjoying the trees, the flowers, the plants, the birds, nature, and just making those little steps.
Yeah, just get outside and enjoy the great weather.
All right, well, Brooke McDonald, thanks so much for coming out again.
Thank you for having me.
President and CEO of the Conservation Foundation. You can find them at theconservationfoundation.org. More info about everything we've talked about today, obviously, and just a lot of great resources there to check out. Thanks for joining us on Fox Valley Today, and we'll see you next time.